My name is Ed Walsh, and I'm one of the series editors of the Collins AQA GCSE Science New Resource. What I want to do in this session is to share some ideas with you about the relationship between science and literacy. These ideas underpin the way we wrote the resources, and I think it would be useful to explain the approach that we took. As well as having an overview of the book, I was also part of the writing team. All of us have backgrounds as classroom teachers, subject leaders, and in school support. I certainly drew upon my experience of getting students to write more effectively, and I know that everybody else in the team did as well. The challenges that we face here are not new, though they are still extremely relevant. For many years, teachers and curriculum developers have been developing ways of getting students to be able to express their ideas about science orally and in writing. We want our students to be articulate and literate because this helps them to clarify their ideas, become better scientists, and to get better exam grades. It's also worthwhile saying that these challenges are widespread, as every set of examiners' report shows. Furthermore, they are not limited to science. Some of the terminology may be unique to our subject, but supporting students to write more effectively is a school-wide issue. When developing this resource, we spoke to a number of subject leaders, and those working in schools where literacy was a whole school focus were often further down the line of developing effective practices. What I'm going to do is to share some key points, explain what we believe to be an effective approach, and then to suggest why. At the end, there are some questions you might like to explore if you think that doing so will be helpful. We are all teachers of literacy. Children and young people learn in many ways, but one of these is copying, or at least drawing on the models provided to them by adults. When we teach, we model the way that language is used. If, for example, we ask a wide range of questions, both open and closed, then our students will learn from that. This is what science is about. Some students will be particularly dependent upon us, providing rich and varied examples over a period of time, showing how it is that we use language in science. It's not all about the words. Science has an impressive vocabulary, and we as professionals are very conversant with this. Students may be much less so, and it may show. Therefore, we focus upon the words. This isn't wrong, but it's only part of the story. Being literate means using the right words, but it also means being able to construct high-quality sentences, and it also means being able to organize text in an effective way. We need to think about students' work in terms of word and sentence and text. Words only become meaningful in context. It can be tempting to drill students with lists of key words, but quite often this is what they will find to be a harder way of building longer-term retention. It is the use of words in context that makes them meaningful. Resources in the book that focus on the mastery of words therefore ask students to use the words in context rather than trying to learn them in isolation. Having a tight focus means more progress is made. It's frustrating as a teacher to get a piece of work from a student that is poor in terms of literacy. They may have missed certain keywords, not explained an idea even though requested to do so, and the thinking may be confused. However, students may also struggle to take on board feedback in all of these areas at once. Therefore, it makes good teaching sense to focus on one particular aspect of literacy at any one point. If we want to drill down, for example, into writing good explanations and how such sentences are constructed, then we should make that the key outcome of that part of that lesson. Don't counterpose science and literacy. There may be a temptation to think of science and literacy as being separate areas of the curriculum. We might see our job as science teacher as being to explain scientific ideas and get students to a greater level of understanding, and then have to get them to write it down. This can lead to a sense of frustration because it can feel like a distraction from the real job. But it's based on what I would suggest is a false dichotomy. When we get students to develop an explanation of something, we are enabling them to use language, and this will be reflected in lesson design and delivery. Furthermore, writing is a powerful tool to getting students to develop better explanations. If, for example, students are working in a small group and have drafted a conclusion to an experiment, we should then be asking them whether the conclusion is good, how it could be improved, and what they could do to make it more convincing. By doing so, they may then suggest different and better words to use, more effective sentence construction, or a different ordering of ideas. Effective speaking and listening is a precursor to good writing. Experts in literacy will often say that speaking and listening activities are where students will rehearse the argument. In other words, they try things out first orally and then develop this into a written response. My experience of supporting teachers in classrooms has been that lessons that are rich in small group work activities are often ones that result in higher quality written outcomes. Students are developing their written responses from already articulated ideas, not just writing them down, but improving them. There are no silver bullets. No one resource will work equally well with all students. Some materials will be just what one group of students needs, but not work as well with another. Good teachers are responsive to their students' learning needs. The resources are designed as a collection to be drawn upon as needed, rather than a set sequence that has to be followed in entirety. This is a long-term strategy. Developing literacy in science won't work as well if it's seen as something which needs to be highlighted only on the home straight to final exams. Students need the opportunities to embed keywords, develop sentence construction, and look to see what the opportunities are for doing this in Key Stage 3 as well as Key Stage 4 will support them. Now, these ideas are ones that have supported the development of these resources, and you will see them in use throughout the materials. Of course, teachers are inventive and creative as to how they use them, and you will want to make these work for the classes that you have.